Nick, really good to see you. Happy New Year. Today we're
Happy New Year to
talking
you.
proactive
Great to be
planning
back.
for 2023. I know it's great to talk to you. And we have 5 key resolutions.
Right.
2022 was a brutal year for investors. 2023 is sure to be challenging, but there are steps we can take now to set ourselves up for success. So we're going to walk through some of your favorite resolutions. Number one on your list here is rebalance. Why is that important?
It's tough to limit them to just a few, right? Because I probably
Right?
have like on our radio show, we talk about 12 different resolutions to do. But so we kind of baked it down to a couple here that are the most important. And one is rebalancing. And how I talk about that, people hear that term rebalance. And it's like, well, I don't know what that is, but it makes sense. I liken it to my car. What happens if I have my car and I drive down the street and it's out of balance? Why, when I go back and get new tires on the car, do they say we're going to rebalance them? Because if you don't get it rebalanced, then your car's going all over the place. It's crazy. And so just like a portfolio, you got to rebalance it too. Because if you don't keep in check how much red money or green money, that's how we call it, or stocks and bonds, if you don't keep these things in check, sometimes they can get out of kilter. And so if you look on the left-hand side, you're going to see what happens if you rebalance it and you keep the amount of stocks and bonds or whatever instrument you're using in check. So if you start out 50-50, you're always keeping it right about there.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you fall out of balance and you don't check things, sometimes that stock market can go up, which, last year it wasn't, but the stock market doesn't go down in a straight line, doesn't go up in a straight line either. So eventually it rebounds. And when it rebounds, if you don't keep things in check, your stock allocation can go way high, and your bond allocation or maybe your safe money allocation is less. And so what ends up happening is you're getting older and older and older with more money at risk.
Yeah.
And so you got to rebalance it so you keep your risk in check.
Right. I love that analogy. That makes a lot of sense. All right. Number two, which was actually number one on my list, Nick, pay down debt and lower expenses. I think this is on everybody's list, or should be.
Well, the Fed's hiked up the interest rates, and what that means is debt is costing more. And what's happening, and there you can see it, is credit cards are charging more. And so I got a couple articles here. One is from CNN, and this came out January 9th, so just a few days ago. But it said U.S. consumers increased their borrowing by $28 billion in November. And it said that the U.S. consumers, their credit-hungry approach to spending continued in November. According to the Federal Reserve, the monthly increase extends a historic stretch of reliance on debt as a result of inflation. I mean, the article goes on to say it's the fifth largest monthly increase on record that goes back 55 years. I got another article from Fortune. Credit card delinquencies are expected to spike to their highest level in a decade.
Wow.
And so all this at a time when people are getting more into debt because of inflation. They're spending more. It's costing more to live, and they're charging it. And so now we're probably going to have a future situation, I'm thinking in the next, probably this year, where we have some consumer debt issues that are going to cause some volatility in the market.
Yeah. Oof, boy, those stats are alarming. Okay. Number three here, keep saving for retirement. Always good advice.
Yeah, because during a bear market, it's natural to just stop saving. The market's down, so I'm not going to save anymore. But as the adage goes, you buy low, you sell high.
Right.
And so it makes sense, what we call dollar cost averaging. Dollar cost averaging is when you buy at different times, you buy something at different points in time, sometimes high and sometimes low. So you always want to continue saving, especially now with the market 2022. 2022 was a down year for the market. And now you can actually start saving. And the good news is there were some rules changes towards the end of last year that's allowing contribution limits to go up, whether it's a 401k, 403b, IRA, Roth IRA. They increase the limits that you can save. And now's a good opportunity to continue saving. Don't stop saving, continue saving your wealth. So get out of debt. That was the last one, but then continue saving more and more and more now that the market's been, has had a decline over the past year.
Right. Okay. Now, number 4 on our list, update your estate plan / beneficiaries. I feel like this is one of those things that is also vitally important, very easy to do, and often overlooked.
Overlooked because nobody wants to talk about it. Who wants to talk about the boring, the mortality, our death, how long we're going to live? That's not exciting stuff to talk about. So a lot of times we forget and we just don't want to talk about it. I had a couple that just came in yesterday. And when I visited with them, they've been clients of ours for a while. And when I visited with them, every year I've mentioned that they need to do it. They have to update their estate. And they told me, they're like, we know, you've mentioned this for like 5 years. And it's been 30 years since we had our will updated. And so that's something that's on their list of things to do for this year. I had another person, they had no power of attorney set up. And so during COVID, the husband went into the bank and set up an account at the bank. And when he fell sick and walked out on life, the spouse was not listed as beneficiary on the account. So she goes down and says, I should be able to get this taken care of because I'm the spouse. And the bank says, no, you can't do anything with this account because you have no power of attorney. So then she had to go to the court system to try and figure this out. So there's all sorts of different reasons to do it. I've had people that have life insurance policies with the ex-wife listed as the primary beneficiary. And so you just want to make sure that you're getting, your beneficiaries updated. You want to look at your will. If you don't have financial documents, a basic will, power of attorney for healthcare, power of attorney for finance, or your basic things. Maybe there you go. There's a whole bunch of things. And maybe what you want to do is look into a trust. It's not for everybody. You can ask an attorney about whether that's a fit for you. And speaking of that, you don't want to just go to a general attorney. You certainly don't want to go to a divorce attorney for estate planning. Make sure that you're going to like an elder law attorney or an estate attorney. There's a great website. You can go to naela.org and you can find out who's in your local area who can help you out with that, because they specialize in that. And then once you get these documents done, make sure you update them every 3 years.
Right.
What I suggest to people is just put a Post-it note right on the front of it with a date of when you looked at it. And then just keep that going. It's like, oh yeah, I looked at it in 2022 or I looked at it in 2023. Great. Then every 3 years just to check back.
That's a good idea. Yeah. You're also a great resource if somebody needs help finding an estate attorney. I'm just going to weave that in there real quick. And we are going to now move on to number 5, proactive tax planning. Now this one sounds a little bit more complicated than the others.
Yeah. And proactive tax planning, because if you look, IRAs, 401ks, these are just ticking tax time bombs waiting to go off. And a lot of people aren't realizing that tax rates are already set to go higher January 1 of 2026. And so that was the case 6-7 years ago. But now the window is shortened. And now it's only a few years before tax rates go to what they were in the past. And so now you have to be concerned with that. And I think tax planning is very important because taxes are going to go up. Now the required minimum distributions have been moved back for a lot of people to age 73 now instead of 72 as it was. And so what that means is now you're going to have bigger accounts. Then you're going to take required minimum distributions at a higher amount, and possibly more required minimum distributions could push you in a higher tax bracket, higher Social Security taxes. So there's different things, but you just don't want to think that taxes will go down when you move into retirement. For a lot of people, their taxes actually go higher in retirement. And so that's something you got to plan for.
Okay. These are wonderful resolutions, Nick. I always like talking it through with you, not only to understand it, but it helps kind of keep ourselves accountable when we're working with somebody on these kind of things. So if somebody has any questions for you, what's the best way to reach you?
The best way is just to give us a call. 1-844-GROUP-10 is a great number just to set up a 15-minute check-in, just to get some of your questions answered and to see what steps you should be taking. That's a great opportunity. And of course, you can go to our website, group10financial.com. There's lots of great resources, radio shows, podcasts, lots of free content, access to all of our YouTube, shows that we've done. Just great access there to get a lot of free information, help you really get to and through retirement in 2023.
Awesome. All right, Nick, thank you.
Hey, great being with you.